Benefit from trusted clinical content and the latest medical research with Clinical Key AI. Now offering individual, annual, and monthly subscriptions. Start your free 14-day trial today. Streamline your treatment recommendations and tackle complex clinical questions with our advanced AI conversational search tool. Designed specifically for clinicians and residents, access a wealth of knowledge from Braunwald's heart disease to The Lancet, all at your fingertips. Visit join.elsevier.com/free trial CKAI to begin your trial today.
Hi, everybody. I'm Michael Carrese, welcoming you to Raise the Line with Osmosis from Elsevier, an ongoing exploration about how to improve health and healthcare. We're happy to continue our global tour of medical education today with Professor Katarzyna Taran, an MD, PhD, and the head of the Laboratory of Isotopic Fractionation in Pathological Processes and Chair of Oncology at the Medical University of Łódź, Poland. As a pathologist and interdisciplinary researcher of tumor cell biology, Professor Taran is considered a pioneer in the evaluation of cancer tissue isotopic composition in vivo, and she's the head of the first medical unit dedicated to the study of an atomic-level structure in pathological processes. Professor Taran has also made her mark as an educator, winning numerous awards for outstanding didactic achievements and for her unconventional teaching methods, which stress interactivity and student engagement. As the creator of an educational project focused on modern neurodidactics, she has successfully introduced future physicians to contemporary learning techniques that emphasize lifelong learning and competencies of the future. Beyond her work at the university, Professor Taran is active as a shooting sports certified coach and referee, a healthy lifestyle activist, and a sports advocate. And thank you so much for joining us today, Professor.
Thank you for your kind invitation. Hello to all of the listeners.
So I'd like to start with learning more about you and what first got you interested in the field of pathology and specifically tumor cell biology.
Simply speaking, I'm fascinated by the strange world of ill cells, especially cancerous cells. And with time, pathology became my passion. So I'm so happy to have got the profession and the passion together. Pathology is very unique. I think it's perfectly combined the past with the future. So it is deeply rooted in tradition. So for example, we very carefully evaluate pathological condition in terms of the etiology, pathogenesis, morphology, and outcome. But on the other hand, we look into the future. We use very modern tools and we use them not in scientific research, but in our routine. So let's look on molecular genetics. When it was implemented in scientific research, soon it appears in our diagnostic routine procedures. Today, pathology does not exist without molecular techniques. Well illustrate that what are the possibilities of pathology, which in my opinion are unlimited in personal development. I use the modern topic. We would like now to live in space, but we are not prepared for that, and our organisms are not able to survive. That's why we need some changes. And this evolution starts today. We may hear about an InTED platform, for example, but this extra modern project, hard to imagine something more modern than this project, is rooted in pathology because in base is based on fundamentals of cell theory of Rudolf Virchow. So it arose 100 years ago.
So what I'm gathering is pathology will help us understand what the human body can handle and not handle in being in space?
We are not able to do it now because our organism cannot survive. We observe some pathological changes in the organism, especially regarding the site or the muscle, and we try to overcome these problems. And pathology is the base for that.
Yes, well, I worked in a medical environment for many years, and the pathologists were always telling me we're so much more important than people realize.
Oh, thank you. So,
we are the basis of the vast majority of diagnosis, comes through pathology. And they called themselves the doctor's doctor. which I thought was interesting.
I prefer the word partners of other doctors, our honorable colleagues, clinicians, but if you are orientated for lifelong learning, because pathology is very wide, if you are not afraid to make the decision on your own and take responsibilities, if you are interested in exploration of the new lands in the area of science, pathology is perfect for you.
Oh, that's great. It's an amazing field. So you were talking about the impact of different technologies on pathology over time, and one of those was the use of isotopes, which started some time ago. So help us understand how you use isotopes in your research.
When you hear isotopes, most of the people think about radioactive isotopes. They are widely used in medicine, we know them. They are in diagnostic procedures, and sometimes they are also used in the research on cell metabolism as a markers. But they are not these. I focus on stable isotopes. They are natural isotopes which appear in human body, in all of the life organisms, and the entire nature around. So there are many types of them, but first of all, they are divided into two categories in each element. They are heavy and light isotopes, and their ratio has changed due to many internal and external factors in a process which is named isotopic fractionation. So simply speaking, isotopic fractionation leads to the differences in isotopic composition of the matter we investigate. And it is revealed that these differences appear between normal and pathologically changed tissues, which I evaluate. First, I focus on neuroblastoma group of tumors because neuroblastoma by itself is the tumor which represents the entire spectrum of cancer disease. It's a model tumor because on one pole we observe spontaneous regression, which is quite unique in cancers. On the other hand, we observe completely unexplained therapeutic failures. So that's why I feel this is the model for cancer disease, and I start my research from this group. But soon it appears that the findings appear universal, and I've got now it documented in further research which are performed on other groups of cancers. So simply speaking, the benefit from the evaluation which are performed is that we reveal the atomic level of cancer tissue.
And then those insights have an impact on a broader scope of medicine, right?
I would like to, but it's important to underline that only a few such evaluation exist. And we start the evaluation in vivo cells. It's very important because I'm a doctor. My first concern is the health of the patient, their good status. That's why I prefer, in all my professional career, I prefer the studies which present potential clinical impact. And regarding the results of my studies, I found something intriguing that not only pathological tissues, cancerous tissues differs from normal, but also there is the relation of isotope concentration to the course of cancer disease. Please notice that actually in medicine, we do not know the marker of cancer dissemination. We do not know the trigger mechanisms for this process, which actually is a key process for patient health and life. That's why I think it's important to use this potential ability of isotope ratio mass spectrometry I use in my studies to evaluate further this problem. But I also would like to look wider in the entire science. I'm pathologist, so I like to make in order, I like to classify, and please notice there are many levels of recognitions. The oldest one is macroscopic evaluation, which wasn't very beneficial for the patient. Then we drill down into microscopic level of recognition. And the benefit was, for example, the classification of pathological tissue, especially cancerous tissue. Then we've got the ability to drill down more, and we achieve the level of recognition, molecular level of recognition. So we use molecular technique. And please notice it was the breakthrough that there was discovered the nature of cancer disease. There is the beginning of targeted therapies in oncology. But the next level of recognition is available. This is atomic level structure of recognition. Unfortunately, the tool which allows to investigate it, isotope ratio mass spectrometry, is hardly accessible. It's not known among medical tools. It belongs to earth sciences and first was implemented to medicine in forensic because of its highest credibility. And it is used in crime investigation as a proof. So hard to imagine more credible tool. So it seems to be, it is dedicated to the evaluations with prospective clinical impact. We need something so much creditable. And that's why I think that it's hard to believe that if we drill down more and we evaluate pathological condition in atomic level, we will not achieve any benefits. I'm sure we will find something. And as pathologists, I'm glad that we complete the knowledge. Because atoms are known to be the smallest particles which still represent the nature of the matter they arise from. That's why this is surely the last level of recognition we may achieve in science.
So, as a tool, why is it not more available in clinical applications? And what do you think the timeline is for it becoming more available?
It is not known in medical studies because we do not use it as a routine tool. We've got a wide spectrum of tools, but this one is not included. So you need to cooperate with your colleagues from earth sciences. Then the evaluations are also quite difficult to be interpreted if you use distal interdisciplinary studies. This is the widely known problem. If you perform studies with close interdisciplinarity, it's more easy to interpret the results. If you use distal interdisciplinarity, you must overcome a lot of problems. And finally, they are quite expensive. But I think that if we start to use it, the normal market change and we will get it more available and less expensive with benefits for the science.
Well, I hope you're right. It'd be something to keep our eye on. So obviously you're a researcher, and I'm just wondering how you think your teaching benefits from this interdisciplinary research that you do.
I think that in the three areas of my professional activities, interdisciplinary studies, teaching, and sport shooting, which you mentioned in introduction, they are based on three fundamentals, and these fundamentals are the same. The first is patience. The second is overcoming of barriers. And the third is openness and adaptation. So, as I said, with distal interdisciplinary studies, you have to overcome many problems. At the beginning, you've got the impression that you speak different language than your colleague, despite both you are well educated and professionals in the areas. Then you have to pick proper method. During the studies, you face a lot of problems. You need some challenges you need to overcome. And like in sports, sometimes there are moments that you have conquer yourself to come over your own weaknesses. And everything happens in these three areas. But on the other hand, they support each other. When I overloaded in one, I found the rest in another one.
Oh, that's very true. And medicine is becoming more of a team sport, as it were, much more interprofessional integration in clinical care. So these are important skills and concepts for students to know.
Yes, you're surely right. I think we should look holistically on the medical problems, especially that we are doctors and we take care about human beings with all of the problems, not only medical nature.
Before we go further into your particular approach to education, I think it would be helpful for our audience to get a sense of the program at the University of Łódź. How would you describe it overall as an educational approach, and what do you think its strengths are?
Medical University of Łódź is one of the biggest medical units in Poland. And we also take the second place regarding the number and quality of scientific research. We teach 8,000 students in 5 faculties in 15 fields. And in our work, we use the same rules and guidelines which are in the entire Europe. And we follow national, of course, qualifications frame, which stays in compliance with European qualification framework. And of course, the base for everything is the Bologna process with a well-known ECTS points accumulation. So we do not differ in general from our leading units. We face the same advantages and the same problems. Regarding my own opinion, I found my university to be orientated on a practical approach. I appreciate it a lot. And if you ask about sense, I think that they are people, both students who create intercultural atmosphere. We teach students from almost 80 countries all around the world.
Wow.
Yes, this is the very nice community. And regarding the staff, I do not only think teachers, but also people I work with in promotion, for example. This is engagement. They are very much engaged. And engagement is something which unfortunately is quite rare thing today. And it should be highly appreciated. That's why I feel as a privilege that I may work with them to realize my unique projects. I mean, these are which are over standard educational project that I've got help and support from my university and my honorable colleagues.
So, what concerns do you have about medical education these days?
I'm a teacher for many years, and I'm also a certified teach educator in other units like primary school and secondary school. So I see the entire process of education because medical education is actually the end of this formal education. So my first concern may be surprising, but I observe that disappearing ability of reading with understanding. And unfortunately, when I talk to my friends who conduct classes in the law universities or they teach biology or history in university, they share my opinion. This is the real concern because disability is like the rock you bear the knowledge on like a castle. And if this is impaired, you may expect problems with further development and getting knowledge. Regarding medical education itself, I think that students' concern, which are very important for me, this is cognitive overload. We observe that the curricula are full of informations. This is quite interesting because on the one hand, we promote lifelong learning. On the other hand, we want to teach these students everything in 6 years of studies. It's impossible. And this cognitive overload, unfortunately, is supported by evaluation system, test-driven evaluation system, which promotes rote memorization, not abilities, not competences. That's why I think we should put our attention on that and help the students. It's our part as well. Regarding teachers, I have a feeling that we are pushed to be knowledge providers. And in overloaded curricula, we play a part which is not active. But teaching itself is the relation. So in overloaded programs, there is no place for such a relation. And relation is everything in teaching. Students much more remember the feelings they got when you teach them than the content sometimes. It's very important to put our attention also on that problem. But I'm the person who like to be on the first line in the battlefield. So if I've got concerns, I try to do something. And for example, in our university, it is currently implemented the program which I called Inspired University Minds, in which we train, not learn, we train competencies of the future. So we focus on critical thinking, ability to analyze and synthesize. We are talking about breakthroughs in current medicine. We try to start the passion, to start the fire. But this program is not devoted to students of our university. It is the program for secondary school students, which I hope will get benefit from that and in a few years become our students. Previously, we conduct other projects. They were workshop. There was Open University Young Minds for primary school students. And we try to implement the competencies as soon as possible because there is the time for their development and it is beneficial also for us when some, I hope, of these students will become our university students in future.
You talked about the importance of relationships and interacting with students. So give us an example of how you achieve that when you're teaching.
It's a process. You must be patient and start from the simplest relations. So try to be familiar to students' concern. Talk to them. Listen to them first of all. They should be respected. I think that the beginning of all good things is the respect for other people. So if you respect students, one day when they leave classes, they say, "Goodbye, professor, what are you doing during weekend?" And this is the change of the relation. Then one day they tell you what they have been doing during weekend or when they have been in holidays, and the relations start to be something more than knowledge providing. Yes, and you become the friend, professional relation, but the friend. You become somebody they may trust. You become somebody who is open to listen to them, to their problems, and this is the relation. Please notice that Johann Wolfgang Goethe said that the true teachers are these who found out who students already are. So they are not creators and they are rather like genius artists. They've got the rock and they see inside this rock the statue. So they do not create, just remove unnecessary part of this stone. I find this is very important. Emotions, which starts during such a relation, will support the teaching process.
I love that analogy to sculpture. You know,
Thank you.
the essence is there, and the artist's job is to reveal what they can from the nature of that stone or whatever they're working on. That's terrific. So speaking of the relational side of things, mentorship, I know, is a very important subject to you, even going so far as to say that mentorship should be a student's right in medical training. Tell us why you believe that.
This is very complex question because without any doubt, mentorship takes a pivotal role in education. The help, the guidelines, the assistance when the students need, it is very important and all of the students should have it during the studies or earlier in previous education. But please kindly notice, allow me for a reflection that there is the line today between to be a teacher and to be the mentor. I think that this border is a little bit artificial because the best teacher inspire and inspiration is the main attitude of good mentor. So actually the best teachers are at the same time mentor. So the part of the mentor has changed regarding the professional development of the person. So during studies, mentorship is also the help, the active help. But when you finish studies, the mentor's part is to be like a shield because people start to take responsibility for that what they do. And sooner or later, they face failures. And in current world, failures are not welcome. But actually, failure is not a disaster, it's the way for creation to change, to develop is beneficial. That's why the part of the teacher is to be like a shield, and in these difficult moments to explain that this is only one part of life. Without this part, you cannot develop. So I wouldn't like to use the term failures, rather lessons we've got which allow us to develop. And finally, mentors should have faith in the students. I think it's very important because we are afraid a lot of that, what happens with them. We try to support them, but it's not necessary. Good teacher knows when should allow the student to leave him and when the student is ready for that. I highly appreciate students' wisdom. They are really good in that what they do. If you equip them in proper matters, you may expect perfect results.
This is what we call in the United States a wisdom drop. There's a lot of wisdom in what you're telling us. So I want to talk about, this time that we're in of tremendous change in medicine, partly driven by technology, but also public policy and all sorts of other trends. I'm just wondering how you approach equipping your students to manage uncertainty as they are learning, but then also the kind of uncertainty that they're going to face when they are professionals.
I think that the most important is to equip them for the further journey in professional and personal life. And in current times, this equipment, first of all, should be composed of ability for critical thinking, ability to analyze and synthesize, ability to search for unconventional solutions. And first of all, we should train how to adapt fast. And if you do that, you may be sure that your students will manage with all of the unpredictable today challenges. And the modern neurodidactics, what I'm a fan of, prove that they probably manage better than we did.
Tell us more about neurodidactics. That might be a new field for some of our listeners.
Yes and no. Because some of the neurodidactic methods we use from many years, just today this highly develops, especially due to the development of technique, of course. And simply speaking, this is the teaching like the brain likes. So not passive, but active according to brain abilities.
So I know that you're familiar with Osmosis to some extent, and as an education company, we really like to address gaps in knowledge or myths. As an educator, what is something that you would say to Osmosis? It would be great if you guys could make a video about this subject or that subject. I would find that of value, to the students that I teach.
I use Osmosis in a part of my teaching process and also the other tools which are created by elsewhere. And I highly appreciate them. They are on the highest professional level, so I doubt they are an important gaps we should fill full. But that what I kindly suggest to consider is maybe sometime to show something in different way. So, for example, I'm interested in interdisciplinary studies. Maybe in addition to the theory, what I dare how to use them, we may present them as a wonderful journey in which you are like an adventure. You may feel the same feelings like people who discover the new world in previous times. And that what is also very important to show the students that sometimes the answers we possess are less important than the questions we ask during this journey.
More wisdom. That's a great way of putting it. So, as a final question, we always like to give our guests an opportunity to give their sort of bottom line advice to young people about approaching their careers in medicine, in your case, but also just careers in general. You mentioned adaptability. I assume that that's part of it. But what else do you talk to your students about?
I have been discussing this question with the Polish astronaut who now is trained by NASA for the further mission. And he said that the most important is not to live your dreams. And I think this is the advice for everyone and in every time. But when I finish the course of pathology with my students, I tell them about Rudolf Virchow, the father of pathology. Because when you look at the website and you see his photo, you see very noble professor, old and honorable. But if you are curious and you search on your own, you'll notice that he conducted his studies when he was about 30. And he formed his groundbreaking cellular theory when he was very young and in opposition to a lot of authorities of his times. So I tell students, be brave. Never think you are too young to create the groundbreaking theory or to do something great. And if you've got no one who believes in you, I do. And that's what is important. Stay curious, stay inspired, and stay committed to quality because you are medical professionals. So you are the future. The students are our future. Dear students, good luck.
Well, I would like to say I think your students are extremely lucky to have you as a teacher.
Oh, you are very kind. Thank you. But I think it's mutual feeling.
Yeah, well, most good teachers, they get as much from their students as they give, right? So, listen, Professor Taran, this has been so wonderful to spend some time with you. Appreciate your time and for sharing all of your perspectives with us, and we wish you the best of luck in your work.
Thank you very much. I highly appreciate the presence here, and especially that I do not present maybe very traditional point of view of pathologies, but I prefer the wide and holistic look on the problem. So thank you. I have been listened to.
Well, it was our pleasure to have you. I'm Michael Carrese. Thanks for checking out today's show, and remember to do your part to raise the line and strengthen the healthcare system. We're all in this together.
If you like this podcast, please share it on your social channels. You can also subscribe to the series and check out all of our episodes at osmosis.org/raisethelines podcast.